Hey, welcome back everyone. I'm Tyler. Today on Wood Nerds, I want to show you how I used MDF to do this board and batten in our mudroom. The pros for using MDF are it's fairly cheap, it's really easy to work with, it's really flat and square, you don't have to mill it very much. The cons for using MDF are it's not the best when it comes to moisture, so I would probably stay away from using this in a full bathroom where moisture's on the ground often. But in a place like a laundry room, especially in the application that I'm using here, should be good. And then like a half bath, your hallways, things like that. Let's go ahead and jump into the video.
All right, so starting off, I'm using the table saw to start my cuts. And then I'm gonna move these over to the miter saw and then further help dimension this MDF. It's going to be a little rough on the edges, so make sure that you clean that up. I'm using a orbital sander and 120 grit on there just to get it down, and then I moved over to 220 to really smooth it out. These are what's called rails, so these go on the bottom and the top, and I pre-mark them for the positions for the stiles, and then I'm using liquid nails construction adhesive to hold everything in place while I nail it to the studs. So this is a pretty important step. To figure out your positioning, there's a video I'll link right here, and you can use that to figure out your equal spacing for all the stiles. I actually ended up botching this one a little bit, but I'll talk about that more in the next video that I'm going to be putting out with the screw-ups. But again, just using that construction adhesive, making sure everything's in the spots it should be, and then nailing it in place into those studs. Keep a little rag around, that way you can clean any of the squeeze out, that's important. I make my measurements for my inner rails. I really don't know what the term is for these. Oh, Lily came to visit. Oh my gosh, what a sleepy girl. Alright, it's time to get out of here. These inner rails add a really nice dimension, and I highly recommend them if you're doing board and batten. After mounting those, I use some spackle to fill the nail holes.
Hey, hope the video is going well. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I don't have any sponsors, so this is me sponsoring myself. If you guys wouldn't mind and you're enjoying the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification icon so you get updates in the future from me, and comment down below. Comments are really big and they help the algorithm, so if you can do that, just say hi if you don't have anything else to say, and maybe where you're from, I'd really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get back to it.
I'm using a combination of Starbond's thick formula and their accelerator to temporarily hold the hardboard against the wall while the construction adhesive cures. I'm doing this hardboard to hide any of the texture that I have on the wall rather than skim coating the wall, which would take a lot more time. So what I do basically is I apply the accelerator to the wall, and then around all the edges of the hardboard I apply the Starbond. And you have to push pretty hard, but once it comes in contact with that accelerator, it hardens really quick. Now, I use this lightweight spackling, but I really don't recommend the lightweight stuff. It was pretty hard to get to smooth out. It ended up staying really rough even after sanding. Spackling is good, and it's going to work really well, but the lightweight stuff probably stay away from. My next move is going to be to caulk, and I put it everywhere, man. It's on every corner, on the inside, on the outside. I don't do it to the top until you put the cap on, but this is it. You just make a bead and then you run your finger along that and then wipe it off as it starts to build up. The best advice I could give you is to keep your finger kind of wet. I keep a wet paper towel right there that after every wipe, my finger is moist again, and then I can easily run it down this bead and smooth it out. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. This is just the way that works best for me. And like I was saying, I did this on all corners, on the inside and on the outside. And don't worry about your gaps. This is exactly what the caulking's for. Once this is all painted, you won't even be able to tell that there was gaps anywhere here. I did it on the bench as well, even where the bench met the board and batten. Now it's time to install the cap. I used a little bit of construction adhesive on top and then nailed straight down using my nailer. Really easy stuff, man. Just make sure that your measurements are good, double and triple check. And then I taped everything off, and now it's time to paint. I went really heavy on the corners and the edges. That's the best technique I guess I could give you for painting MDF. And then I just went through and rolled a crap load of paint on. A little tip for you, in between coats, you can cover your roller with tinfoil and it'll keep it from drying out. So I did about 5 coats of paint total, and then I hung up the hooks, and that's really it, man. And oh, great. Not this again. All right, I gotta cut this. That's it, no more. We're decorating here. This is my wife's idea. This little, I don't know what to call these, but it actually ended up looking really nice. And then a wreath. Wreath or reef, whatever. That's it. And if you guys haven't seen the previous video where I did the floating bench with the hidden drawers, go check that out. It's really cool. I go in there often. I look at it. Dude, I don't have to clean that up. All right, well, these baskets are a nice little touch.
There you go, super easy like I was saying. MDF really is a dream material to use, especially if the application doesn't call for structural integrity or like a weight or a load-bearing application or something like that. But if you wouldn't mind, again, just a reminder, likes really help the channel out and comments actually help even more. And if you guys wouldn't mind subscribing, if you're interested in seeing more content, I'd really appreciate it. But thanks again for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.